All right, so I'm just going to get started. Fantastic. So, welcome tonight to our masterclass. I'm very excited to be here. It's my privilege and an honor to be working in this space, helping people like yourself with thyroid issues. I've been working in this space as a thyroid naturopath for about 4 years, as a general naturopath for over 10 years. And I also have qualifications in remedial massage. I feel that I find I actually obtain a lot of information through from the body, so that's definitely an advantage as well. Also aromatherapy and reflexology. I'm also an advocate for Zenzino, and I've been in the health industry for over 25 years. So I'm excited to be here, and let's just move along here. So this topic is really about, listening to your thyroid. Your thyroid is talking, are you listening? So what I mean by that is, we have signs and symptoms. Now, it's going to be dependent on what is going on with your thyroid, whether it is on the low side, meaning underactive, on the high side, meaning overactive. Also, the etiology of that, whether it's come through an autoimmune dysregulation, meaning Hashimoto's, which tends to lean into underactive, or Graves' disease, which is the autoimmune, which gives signs and symptoms of overactive. There also could be thyroiditis, there could be goiter, there could be nodules, there could be just mismanaged or sluggish thyroid. So, it's really important, I find, to really tune in to the body and listen in to what's actually going on, as opposed to just, having a strong reaction based on fear and whatever you've Googled, and, which could potentially lead you down the wrong path and overreact. All right. At the end of the day, our body is on our side, and it is arguably easier to fix than given credit for. On the same token, it can be a long-standing issue because of strong underlying factors that have not been dealt with or healed. So this is going to be great for you if you're doing everything right, but your thyroid feels stuck. Okay, so this is a very foundational masterclass on thyroid healing beyond symptoms and surface solutions. Okay, so this session is especially for you if you've made dietary changes, and we can certainly go through a lot of questions towards the end, and taken the recommended supplements, all right, and or medication. It's also for you if you've been told that your labs are normal, but you don't feel well. And it might be that you have this instinct or intuition that your thyroid is off. I find that that is just really, really important information, because who am I to step above that and say, oh no, your thyroid is fine, if your gut instinct or intuition is telling you that it's not. That tells me that I need to look more deeply and see what else is going on, because a pathology test is only a snapshot in time. It is not a health story pathology reading. It is only a snapshot. So, your thyroid could be off, and the labs may have just captured that on a good day. All right. So it's really important to know that. Also, if you're feeling inflamed, exhausted, flat, or stuck, irrespective of what's going on with your thyroid labs or pathology, because you know what, there are other reasons for that. Because the thyroid is a metabolically active hormone that initiates and activates all systems in the body, there can be other reasons for feeling inflamed, exhausted, flat, or stuck: digestive issues, energy deficits, hormonal imbalance, and so forth. Or if you're confused about why your efforts aren't actually translating into healing, that can be very frustrating and, yeah, just, underwhelming. So here's the missing conversation in thyroid healing. Okay, so I see myself as working in a very unique space in the sense that, I'm not shining the light on the thyroid. Like we learn everything about what's going on with the thyroid and understanding how it works and how it operates in the body and how the thyroid leans into all other aspects of the body. Most approaches focus on suppress or managing symptoms through thyroid supplementation or medication. And more often than not, this is why healing doesn't, it's long standing. It takes a long time because, if you're just kind of like the thyroid, if you can imagine it being like a puppet on strings, it has a negative feedback loop. And if you're just kind of managing symptoms and you're just providing supplementation for it to go this way or go that way, unfortunately, I feel that you're really, not you, but we are missing the point of looking at the deeper layers. So true healing asks a deeper question. What has the body been adapting to? You know, like how long has the body been trying to cope before the thyroid has finally gone out of whack? Has it been 10 years, as an example? And also, is it autoimmune or is it endocrine? Because autoimmune is a dysfunction of the immune system which affects the thyroid gland, whereas endocrine is a dysfunction of the actual thyroid gland based on what's going on in the endocrine system. So the fact that one is hypothyroid and the other is Hashimoto's, and often Hashimoto's cause hypothyroidism. However, just because you have low functioning thyroid doesn't necessarily mean that it stems from Hashimoto's, and it's really important to understand which one you have because that really directs the level of healing to a specific area of the body as opposed to generalized. And it's really important to listen to what your body is trying to communicate back to you, which comes up in the signs and symptoms. And we don't want to be blaming the poor thyroid on everything. To give you an example of that, the signs and symptoms of thyroid or low functioning thyroid also mirror those very same signs and symptoms of perimenopause. So it's really important to ascertain which is which and where the overlap is as well to compound those impacts, which is why it is a very, very common period of time. It's a very, very common period of time around kind of 45 to 55 for your thyroid to misbehave and go out of whack. So symptoms are signals, they're not the actual problem. They are messages. Whilst, yes, we want to note the symptoms, they're not the actual problem. The problem could be occurring on that deep level for a period of time before the symptoms have actually come up. And the symptoms, as I mentioned a moment ago, may be a layering effect of other dysfunctions or other issues in your body. To give you a classic example, fatigue is caused by adrenal issues, stress, overwhelm, fight, flight, a burnout. It's also caused by a low functioning thyroid. It is also caused by iron deficiency or B vitamin deficiency or poor nutrient assimilation. It can also be caused by chronic inflammation. So other signs and symptoms of thyroid issues are weight changes, which could be subtle or significant, mood shifts, which could be subtle or significant. If it's stemming from an autoimmune etiology, there can very well be gut dysfunction or gut infection, causing indigestion, bloatedness, etc., etc. Or just that feeling of feeling inflamed, sore, tired, and just not your best self. Okay, so other symptoms reflect, as I mentioned, like stress, unmanaged or mismanaged stress, nutrient depletion, or just poor nutrients. And you're not exactly going to know this unless certain tests are done. So I'm a big fan of functional testing. If you don't know me already, given that that actually gives us good quality data to match with your signs and symptoms. Immune activation is where there's an autoimmune um, issue involved or overload. Okay, so if we're removing the symptoms, meaning if we're masking the symptoms with a band-aid solution such as a top level treatment plan. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a top level treatment plan. I know how it feels to not feel your best self when you're trying to, work your full-time job or look after your family and, do this juggling act that us women tend to do. However, if we're just kind of working at that surface level, unfortunately, what can happen is we're not getting to the root of the root. We're not actually getting to those foundational layers, which is what is calling out for repair. So, whilst yes, a bridge solution to get you from A to B can be extremely helpful, at the same time, we really want to be working on those foundational layers. Okay, we can't fix a roof with wobbly foundations. So here's what your body may be adapting to. And you know what? As I've mentioned, our body is on our side. It is clever. It is intelligent. We are lucky to be in a very intelligent body, which has so many hormonal communication messages, which work with the neurotransmitters, which basically our hypothalamus, which is the brain's brain. It's like the higher control center. It is sampling the blood all the time, 24 hours a day, 24/7, constantly, so that it can regulate, so that it can actually shoot down little chemical messages to tell the pituitary, hey, bring on more thyroid hormone, or hey, shut off the thyroid hormone. We've got too much going on here. Okay, we've got not enough. Bring it on. And then that then sends out chemical messages, to our adrenal glands, to our sex hormones, to our pancreas. Like there is so much going on. And, our body and our thyroid, which I call the second brain, is constantly kind of pulling on all the strings, like pulling us this way, this way, that way, so that we can try to adapt and regulate. So when we get a full-blown thyroid disease or autoimmune out of control disease, that's where it's just like, it's like, what is the straw that broke the camel's back? And now we're quite unwell. However, I love working in what I call the golden opportunity zone. And the golden opportunity zone is where the thyroid might be sluggish or a little bit off or just not working too well. However, we obtain so much more information about what's going on and we create the healing to course correction the thyroid so that then it recalibrates, working with the nervous system to come back into play. All right. So our body might be trying to adapt to so many things, as I've mentioned, or written here, chronic stress, nervous system overload. It is a huge contender for thyroid issues. Inflammation or immune dysregulation, huge contender. Even like triggers from vaccines, triggers from heavy metals, triggers from mold toxicity. There are so many elements that can cause an immune dysregulation or overactivity, which brings on Hashimoto's or thyroid autoimmunity. Blood sugar instability and metabolic strain, all right? Gut liver detoxification issues, like fatty liver or a well-functioning liver, kidney, gut, a gut infection such as a parasite. Blastocystis hominis or Diantonema are very common parasites which are commonly linked to thyroid issues, as is like Klebsiella and Citrobacter bacterial infections, which are commonly linked to like SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and thyroid issues. So, if you're just treating the thyroid, you could have like a gut infection that's just left to create all these symptoms. And this is the flaw of the biomedical model, because you might go to an endocrinologist to have your thyroid tested, and then you've got a gut issue, and instead of them looking at that as a root cause of your thyroid issue, they send you to a gastro, I can't even say it. Gastro, someone say it for me. Gastrointestinologist. It's not that. I can't believe it. Anyway, I'm just going to move on now. Leanne, you can actually type it in there. All right. So why healing can stall when even labs look normal? Okay, so the reason why our labs look normal is because first of all, on the Douglas, Hanley, and Moore pathology, the normal range is extremely broad. So, I would like to see a TSH between 1 and 2, maybe 0.5 to 2.5, maybe edging up to 3. But the Douglas, Hanley, and Moore pathology ranges are like 0.5 to like 5 or 5.5, so that's quite sluggish if you're at the upper end. All right. So, oops, let's go back there. So normal isn't really normal. I mean, it's not about what's normal to the population. It's about what is normal for you, right? So this is where, if you've got issues with energy, just get a full thyroid panel at least once a year. And by the full thyroid panel, I mean your TSH, your free T4, your free T3, your reverse T3, which they won't do, but if you push for it, you can say, I'll pay for it, and then they'll do it. And also your thyroid autoantibodies, which are your TPO, and your thyroglobulin, which is your TG. And the other one is only applicable if it's autoimmune hyperthyroid, okay, which is your TRAB, okay, thyroid receptor autoantibody. Okay, so the actual labs ignore the root cause. They are just localized to the thyroid hormones, right? So this is the problem, in my opinion. They don't show nervous system tone or resilience. They don't show whether the body is surviving or, as opposed to thriving. They just don't show that. So this is where taking a deeper look can be just give you such great data so that you know where to direct your energies. So why chasing quick fixes keeps you stuck? So, for example, I've had clients that are brand new and have just had a diagnosis. I have had other clients that have been suffering with a thyroid issue for 20 years and are forever and a day on thyroxine and feeling fatigued, feeling tired, not feeling better. And there's a huge reason for that. I mean, there's multitude side effects from the medication. B, there could be other underlying deep healing that has never been looked at because everything's been blamed on the poor little old thyroid, right? And the only solution is to manipulate the hormones this way or that, as opposed to looking underneath the surface and bringing cohesion and balance back to the body. Because when we bring cohesion and balance and healing back to the body, like for example, we eradicate the gut infection, we recalibrate the nervous system, we improve your resilience to stress, and all of the things, that's where suddenly your body is able to just balance better, and quite often the thyroid will just come back in check. Okay. Obviously, it depends on many factors. For example, the health of your thyroid gland, the health of the thyrocytes, the little cells within the thyroid, because they are the ones that do the heavy lifting and make the thyroid hormone under the instructions of the pituitary gland from the hypothalamus. All right. Okay, so we don't want to just be layering supplements. I mean, honestly, sometimes people that I'm working with, they come in and they're taking like, I don't know, dozens of supplements. And it's just, just it's like patchwork, trying to fix all the leaks in the roof, but not actually looking at the structure. So this is where a protocol without the context can really overwhelm the system, because every time you take a supplement, you're actually taking a unique amount of excipients that are within the supplement. So basically, the excipients are what holds the little tablet together. And sometimes, especially if you're sensitive and you have an autoimmune thyroid issue or any other sensitive immune issue, you could be reacting to the excipients. So it's really important to, have a protocol with a goal in mind, with a time frame in mind, and with context. So healing is not necessarily about doing more. In fact, it's often about doing less. However, it is about working at a deeper layer or a deeper level. So my wish for everybody is to move forward with clarity. So when we understand what our body is asking for, decisions become so much simpler, all right? So when we understand that it is that thing way back then when that started that has caused the imbalance to our thyroid today, which is 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the track, that's when things are going to start moving and changing. And you're also clear with the next step. So we want healing to be collaborative. What I mean by that is you're collaborating with all the parts of your body, not just your thyroid. You're truly honoring all of those beautiful organs that are trying to keep you going, as opposed to just following the brain and that ever ready go battery, with complete disrespect or displacement of what's actually going on in your body at that deeper level. So the goal is to have sustainable support, not constant correction. We don't want to be just tweaking this medication, having this supplement, and then we tweak it down a little bit because the thyroid is normal based on population studies, but maybe not optimal for you. Okay, so we don't want to be doing all this course correction. Ideally, we want to have a goal in mind, and we have a treatment plan, which could be just to get you from A to B, a nice little bridge. And all that time, we're working on the deeper level, whatever it is that's not working well in your body, that's actually the cause or the root of the root. And then at the end, we have the goal for you to, whatever your goal is. It might be lose 10 kilos. It might be to think more clearly. It might be to feel less achy. It might be one of my clients, her goal was to be able to get up and down with her grandkids. And 1 year later, she's doing that with ease, actually. And she's now on to the next thing, which is she's looking for a 10-kilometer event to participate in because she's looking to challenge herself because she's feeling so great. So, we're all different. We all have different goals. So, next step or the first step. Now, I truly believe that this step, if it's not overlooked or missed or skipped, I believe that this is the perfect starting point. So whether you have newly been diagnosed or whether you've had this issue for a while and you've just been given medication, given just like a little blanket, story about why this has happened, I truly believe that you doing the work and understanding your health story is the next step for you, or the first step, depending on where you are on your health journey, because we all have a health story. A thyroid issue does not just drop from the sky. It has occurred because of one, two, three, or several things that are going on. And when you understand your health story, then moving forward, you're able to get really decisive about what you put into your body, what you do, what you don't do, where your threshold is. And when we understand our threshold, then we're able to actually thrive with confidence. Oops, I've missed okay. I wanted to Oh, okay. There's a slide that's missed. Never mind. Before that, what I wanted to do is I wanted to actually ask for any questions now. So I'm just going to stop sharing screen. Whoops. And I wanted to open it up for questions. Clearly, not everyone's been able to come on tonight, so I'm not quite sure what the problem there was. But yeah, we've got Jackie and also George. So George, if you wanted to come off speaker and certainly put your camera on, because at the end of the day, like we all have different issues going on, and I'm here to answer questions and provide further information. So, do either of you ladies have any questions? Anything?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Go, Georgie.
Oh no, you go. I'm okay.
Oh, I've just been to the GP
Mhm.
and told him that I came off my thyroid medication last August, and it just really cemented to me that he's trying to put a band-aid on why I came off, that I perhaps need to think about going back on, and he's investigating a little bit of tiredness after I've overdone it for the day. I've just had this big awakening today after having a one-on-one with you, Megan, because I can see that whole mainstream medical field just want us to have that band-aid, and I want to get to the bottom of it. So I don't really have a question. I just have cementing in kind of what you're saying and looking forward to finding out maybe. Can you tell me whether an instance or a period of time can cause the thyroid, say in 2018, a stressful period of my life, and then leading up to actually being diagnosed and thinking, oh, I better get in touch with my body and go and find out from the GP what I now do? 3 years later, can it be something that far behind that causes the dysfunction?
Absolutely. It can
Okay.
be 10 years behind.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's the thyroid in the endocrine system is really the last domino to fall. So,
yeah.
you
Okay,
know, it's like your body's trying to adapt. Like, you know, your T3 is your metabolically active hormone,
yeah,
and it is required for every singular cellular function in the body. You know, for your
yeah,
heart function, your brain function, your digestive system, you know, all systems go. And
yeah,
you know, if it's constantly your thyroid is working really hard to help your body adapt to anything that's going on all of the time. And when suddenly, you know, your thyroid, as an example, in your case, is unable to make enough thyroid hormone to support all of those symptoms and system dysfunction or stress or whatever it is. Because if you had a really stressful period of time in 2018, that high cortisol response will absolutely circuit break your T4 to T3 conversion. So your T4 is your thyroxine, which is your body's natural hormone, which is a pro hormone,
yeah,
and it converts to T3, which is your most metabolically active hormone. Now, stress can very much do that. The other thing can do that is just if you don't have the right or enough of the minerals that make the hormone. So, for example, to make thyroxine, we need tyrosine and we also need iodine. And we tend to be quite iodine deficient in this country, unless you're eating a lot of seaweed and seafood, right? Um, and then the other minerals that are required to help with the conversion are zinc, magnesium, selenium, to name a few, in inositol as well. So it's really, you know, there are quite a lot of factors involved. So, absolutely, you know, I think that would be very much your starting point. And at the end, I'll be revealing the gift, which is a different type of gift because it's the type of gift that really gives you that first step. And that would be your starting point, 2018, to really drill back and feel into that stressful period of time and really, you know, with retrospective thinking, feel into what happened and how it impacted your body.
Yep.
There can be
Thank you.
there can be a lag effect too, right?
Okay.
Because it's
Yeah.
like during a stressful period of time, your body's going to secrete adrenaline and cortisol over a period of time to help you with that stress. And depending on how long that goes on for, that will have a wearing on your system.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. George.
Oh, hi. I was joining this evening because I've got a very complex constellation of health issues, and thyroid is just another layer that, in my own investigation, has come into it. I think it's always been there,
Yeah.
issues, but I can tell you since 2020, I've seen 14 different practitioners and asked every single one to look at thyroid, and they only looked at TSH. And 18 months ago, one told me to have iodized salt. That blew me out of the water, and my thyroid exploded because they did not test me for deficiency or whether I had adequate levels of selenium and all that sort of stuff. So I basically, my thyroid swelled up so much I couldn't even put my chin to the ceiling because it was
Wow.
so swollen, and again, ignored by GPs, etc., etc. Went and did my own testing, and my antibodies were in excess of 1,300.
That would be,
So they're now down to at 35. However,
wow.
what my issues are is I've got mast cell activation syndrome.
Yeah.
I've had chemical exposures. I've had mold exposure. I'm now currently down to 6 foods that I tolerate as a result of chemical exposure from a remediator.
Yeah.
But in tracing blood work that I demanded to get some history, I actually medically retired from the workforce 10 years ago. And because I was collapsing and blacking out behind the wheel and stuff like that because of stress, and back then my cortisol was 680. So it was
Right. Okay.
pretty bad. But anyway, getting recent blood work, when you have blood work done and it'll give you the history of when that marker was last tested.
Yes.
So when I got some antibody testing in March last year, it showed history of when what we call Capital Pathology Labs here in Canberra, which is that Douglas franchise you guys know
Yes.
as.
Yeah.
It had the history, and it'd been tested back in 2014 in December. And I had antibodies then, and no one told me.
Wow.
So for 10 years, I've been home and wrestling with all this symptomology and all these other things, and sort of things escalating over time. So I've been quite furious to see that was there and was never told, and was constantly told, that I've got an anxiety disorder and all this sort of stuff. I've definitely got, what do you call it? Medical trauma. But I think personally for me, the thyroid stuff going on, my familiarity of symptoms that I've had since that iodine explosion reminds me complete how I've been feeling. Absolutely mirrors in 2003 when I developed sepsis.
Yep.
I survived it. I was in hospital, but afterwards my body blew up and all that sort of thing. And I remember going to the doctor saying, I feel like I've got brain damage, like there's something wrong, and was told, no, you're fine. But the brain effects of the Hashimoto's is familiar. Like, even though it's horrendous, it's much a worse situation now. And I've been told I'm postmenopausal.
Yeah.
The endocrinologist I saw that took all the lab work to him, he because the thyroid hormone stuff looked in range, but that was because of the massive dumping of thyroid hormone
Yeah.
from the iodine.
Yeah.
So that looked normal, but he just said, oh, yeah, you've got this autoimmune thyroid, but your labs are fine. You don't need medication, but by the way, you're in postmenopause, which gave me whiplash, because I thought, hang on, what? And he said, you need to go on HRT straight away. I tried HRT for 2 days. I was blacking out.
Yeah. Look,
So,
I can tell already, George, like I'm really, really sorry to hear like your long-standing issues. You
yeah,
know, you've got a very sensitive system. You've also been under assault by all of the, the chemical
yeah,
issues and
yeah,
all of that. But you're the type of person that I call you're a canary in the coal mine.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I
So
am. Yeah,
you've got a very, very sensitive, and it's not unusual at all. It's not unusual. However, this is the thing, it's not looked at. It's
yeah.
not looked at. So I personally feel that most medications you'd probably not do well with.
I don't
And
tolerate anything. Yeah,
yeah, and it would be about really just working very, very gently. I mean, the fact that you can only tolerate 7 foods, I would definitely be wanting to look at your gut and really look
yeah.
at your gut and healing the gut first,
Yeah,
really.
I've done gut testing since 2020. I actually run a Facebook group with 5,000 people internationally on a particular type of SIBO condition. It doesn't mean I'm an
Yeah,
expert in it. It's just that I was home and available to manage the group. But I've taught myself in biochemistry, genetics, the microbiome, um, all so much biology and things like that. I know stuff, but I can't get it to work in me.
yeah, okay.
So
Yeah. So
analysis, paralysis from analysis.
yeah. Absolutely. And you know what? Like, this is where I'm a huge advocate in really like taking ownership of your health and
Yeah,
working collaboratively with anybody, even like not even, but for example, that's the way I like to work. I would like to work in collaboration because,
yeah,
this whole top-down approach, like you don't need that testing, and ignoring your gut instinct of what you're asking for, that's actually, unfortunately for you, wasted a whole 10 years where you could have actually really got to the bottom of it earlier and
yeah,
helped to
yeah,
bring about balance in your body much sooner. Because once
yeah,
you've got mast cell activation syndrome, that's basically a heightened immune response and
yeah,
activity to a lot of environmental things.
yeah,
So, as well as gut, my focus for you would be to stabilize your mast cells, to really stabilize your cellular and really recover the cell because it's the
yeah,
cell that houses the nucleus and the mitochondria that produces energy and all of that. If that's not sound, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to tolerate a lot of things. So that's why your body is having a hissy fit whenever you put something new into it.
yeah. I'm in pursuit of. I've finally got a functional medicine doctor that can prescribe from September last year. But I've reacted. I had one Telfast tablet. That put me into a 7-week flare. I've tried
Oh, no.
ketotifen.
Yeah.
That backfired. I don't tolerate minerals. My big issue, like I've got a lot of food intolerances, but the biggest hurdle is salicylates and phenols. So I don't
Oh,
tolerate,
okay.
yeah, quercetin. I don't. So that's
Yeah.
where the
You
roadblock
can't
is.
stabilize.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with many practitioners. So I'm like, look, I know I'm complex. I'd just like to pick your brain and learn. I know what works and what doesn't work in my body, which isn't a lot, but that's me more trying to tune in with people, learn what they can tell me about their area of expertise, and then I sort of sit with it and try and digest where that fits for me and how can I navigate with that knowledge. Like, so
You'd possibly, like, given that level of sensitivity, and if you're sensitive to salicylates and phenols, that just kind of throws out a whole lot. Well, especially the salicylates, they're
yeah,
all the foods that are got great nutrient density,
yeah.
so
And I love,
they're all like your leafy greens and all the good stuff.
yeah,
So that
that,
kind of puts you on the back foot there.
yeah,
Um,
that's what the chemicals knocked out within hours of exposure. I knew,
yeah.
I knew it straight away. Like,
Yeah. So I'd be looking at really bringing about that cell membrane integrity. I use Balance Oil, which is an omega-3 supplement, which is it's very clean, and I see that it's the best in the industry. And I use that with all of my clients now. And basically, it is an omega-3 complex with a polyphenol. But for you in particular, I'd be just giving you a little bit to try. But that's really what's going to bring about an integral phospholipid membrane of your cells so that your body can start to heal. So it's like we need to back up and go to the level of the cell.
yeah,
You've
yeah,
got 37 trillion cells in the body,
yes,
and there's no point putting anything in until the cells are healed.
yeah. The cell membranes are fragile and leaky, like my brain and my gut.
Would be leaking. You'd have leaky brain and leaky gut,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
And then the next step I'd possibly do for you is I'd explore bushflower essences,
Oh,
okay, and also homeopathy, because they're both very, very gentle.
yeah. I
And
tried. That's interesting because of the reaction to minerals, I was told to lean into tissue salts, and I tried a tissue salt on New Year's Day because I was told there's no reactions, no side effects, whatever, and I had a reaction, and I thought,
yeah.
of course I have. Like,
Yeah. So it would be about fact finding, and like, of course, you're very welcome. We can have a call and nut it out, but it'd be about fact finding and just everything that you've done
mm,
so far. And you know what? Something's going to work, George. Like, don't give up. Something is going to work. It's just that sometimes it's not about doing more, it's about doing less. And sometimes we need to do the thing that our brain doesn't even want to look at. And I'm not talking about you in particular, I'm talking about
yeah,
everybody. Like, for me personally, just if I could bring a little bit of my tiny little bit of my health story, for me, I had to move out of the city. Now, I knew in my gut, I knew in my instinct, I knew in my aura, I knew in my whole body that I had to move out of the city. Me and the city don't
yeah,
work, just don't mix, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it was really since I moved out of the city 4 years ago that my healing accelerated. It
yeah,
wasn't about a supplement, it wasn't about this, it wasn't about that, it was about an energetic shift from one place to another place. That
yeah,
was actually what helped facilitate my healing. Now, I'm not telling everyone to upend their roots and move, but
yeah,
that was what it was for me. So it's about really getting honest with yourself and looking at your external environment versus your internal environment. If it's having a hissy fit to everything that you're doing externally, it might be something like a shift and change or a move. It might be something completely different. Like, for example, I'm a big fan of utilizing nature, and it's not just about having a vegetable and having this, it's about walking in nature, getting your hands into nature, into the
yeah,
ground, into the earth, going into the ocean. I mean, the ocean is just a natural healer.
yeah,
It
yeah.
just
Very,
cleanses
very
all out,
purifying.
it gets all the shit out of your aura,
Yeah,
all the stuff, right?
yeah,
Um, But yeah, but thanks for sharing that, George. I mean, I've had a handful of clients that you're reminding me of with the level of complexity and sensitivity. Um,
yeah.
with basically being that canary in the coal mine. So I'm just telling you now, like, don't give up. You can, and certainly I'll be happy to nut things out with you if you wanted to.
Thank
Um, But I'm just going to go back to, and we had Jane on, but I think she's popped off, so I'll reach out to her separately. But I'm just going to go back to my screen now and share my gift to you. Now, is that the one? Oh, I don't know what's happened. Oh, here we are. Hang on a minute. Oh, there's it. There's the Q&A. Okay, well, we've just done that. Apologies there. I don't know what's going on here with my slides. I might have missed. I might be clicking too fast. Hang on. Excuse me. Why isn't it going? Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. Not too good on the admin. All right, so here's the gift. So the gift is like we're going to email you. It's just like a little worksheet, and it's called Understanding Your Health Story. And this is what I get every single brand new client to do. And it takes about 90 minutes. It's a real deep dive, and we have a lovely soundtrack that ideally, you listen to. So it's not something to rush through at the end of the working day. It's not something to, do in pieces. It's basically about, creating a boundary of space to give yourself a good 90 minutes of undisturbed quality time so that you can really dive in and map out your timeline. Because when you map out your timeline, rather than, oh yeah, it was about 3 years ago, it was roughly this time, it was roughly that happened at this time. But if you literally map out your timeline and put all of the information down and answer the questions, which are the journal prompts through this document, honestly, you're going to come out the other end understanding so much more about your body, and you'll most likely understand the next step for you without utilizing any practitioner, because I truly believe that at the heart of the heart, our cells have such intelligence. We actually have the wisdom there. We actually know what to do. Me as a practitioner, I am like a guide with a light. So I'm going to help shine the light on the path, and also, get across the line for, getting your full thyroid labs panel. You should be able to get that with the click of your fingers. You shouldn't have to be waiting 10 years to get that, George. Like that's just it literally takes 5 days to get those results, right? So I kind of jump bridges to get functional testing done, stuff that I believe should have been honored through the biomedical model, but at the end of the day, that's not their forte. We need them, but that's not that's what they're about, right? They're about just help take this Panadol and soldier on, that type of thing. Whereas the natural health industry is more about facilitating you and your body as a unique organism and how it fits in with the natural world. To call on your own innate healing, utilizing all of the tools. And the tools are, there's so many of them. Like a tool can be everything from walking on the beach in the afternoon to recalibrate your nervous system, to taking a particular herbal medicine formula to help you with your lymphatic congestion. All right. So we have so many different tools, right? So once you do the Understanding My Health Story, then there'll be a link, and it's an invitation to book a free call with me, which is 45 minutes. And that is basically for me to just, go through some things for you so that I can map out a plan for you. So one kind of dovetails with the other. If you've already got your call booked, which Jackie, you have, the Understanding Your Health Story will be something that will just come after that. And that will be a good thing for you to do, just to have that clear understanding. So that's my gift. And it's really about setting you ladies up with some deeper understanding of what's going on in your body. Because I feel that, we all have so much more within us than we give ourselves credit for. And that, I believe, is going to change in humanity. I think we are There's a movement within health and wellness where people are taking back their power. People are taking back their autonomy. People are taking back their decision making. I believe the future of medicine is not, what do you think, doc? It's about, body, what do you think? Oh, I've just got trills. You know when you get those prickles down your spine?
Yeah.
You know, because we're too busy following the brain. The body knows. The body is the heart consciousness, and our body is top dog, brain second. You know, that's the order, actually. And I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. So I'm just going to end with this, that healing is not something we do to the body. It's a relationship we return to. And that's my belief. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, ladies. We had several people coming on, but you ladies showed up, so that was really, really great.
Thank you.
And Shell will email you the Understanding Your Health Story little document or ebook with the music and also the link, the booking link tomorrow.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.